We are about to begin our festivities. New York Wiki Matrix Awards celebration. Thank you for coming. My name is Georgia Galinodis. I am president-elect, and I am incredibly thrilled to carry the torch and walk in the footsteps of so many other incredible women that have had this post before me. I am the Chief Experience Officer at HIMSS. That is HIMSS with 2 S's, not 1 S. If you look it up, it would be really quite different. Yes. And when we think about all the amazing women that have come before in the role of president, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our outgoing president, the woman that took us through unprecedented times of 2020 into 2021. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce the unstoppable Ashley Miles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is so great to see you all here in person at our New York Women in Communications Matrix Awards celebration. That's right, we're actually here in person. How does it feel? Feels pretty damn good, in my opinion. My name is Ashley Miles, and I'm the founder and CEO of Franklin West, a business growth collective committed to transformation and sustainable growth for businesses and leaders. But lucky for me, I'm also the 2020-2021 New York Wiki president, an organization committed to empowering women in the communication field at every career stage to reach their full power and potential. In my 2 business leadership positions, and as a mother to 2 young girls, Mila and Holland, you can see that I tend to gravitate towards opportunities that help make a significant impact on people, businesses, and culture. I believe that doing good business with good people and great companies unlocks joy and a wealth of growth opportunities for all. Tonight, we want to build upon the 2021 Matrix Awards digital event with this evening's in-person celebration of our amazing honorees and our scholarship winners, and of course, all of our members and partners who make New York Wiki such an extraordinary organization. In attendance tonight, we have our 2020 Matrix Award honoree, the amazing Barry Rafferty. Love you, Barry. And our 2021 Matrix Award honorees, Hoda Kotb, Marissa Thalberg, woo, Amanda Richmond, Dawn Ostroff, and former New York Wiki president and honoree, Judith Harrison. I have chills. Amazing. Now, keep in mind, this is our first in-person event since our interviews with scholarship candidates back in March of 2020, so that's over 19 months ago. And back then, who would have imagined what those following months would have in store? Suddenly, we had to adapt to a whole new way of working and living and experienced firsthand how tough some of those challenges were, especially for women. Instead of taking a backseat, New York Wiki tuned into our community, and we rolled up our sleeves and we searched for a way to make an impact. Along with our partners, Meredith Corporation, Bloomberg, FCB, and Engine, New York Wiki launched the Women Heard Initiative, a powerful research-driven platform and call to action campaign to address the dramatic departure of women from the workforce due to COVID-19. New York Wiki is going deep to understand the why around this issue and how businesses can better grow and retain diverse talent moving forward. Being with you tonight is a great sign that things are moving in the right direction, right? Doesn't it feel so good? During these last few months, we've been experiencing our own personal list of first. Maybe it's our first time back in the office, anyone? Was it anyone's first time back on an airplane to make it here? Or sending our kids back to in-person learning? Thank God. I was a terrible at-home teacher, terrible. My personal first this year included launching a brand new company in the middle of a global pandemic to serve the business community that has given me so much throughout my career at a time when they needed fresh perspective most, as well as my first term presidency here at New York Wiki and serving with the most diverse board in our 90-year history. Each of these steps is proof that we can do hard things. With a bold vision, a winning action plan, and an optimistic view of the future, we can make extraordinary leaps forward. So before we move on to the highlight of the evening, which is our panel featuring our 2021 Matrix honorees, I would like to take a moment and thank the people who made this event and our virtual awards event possible. First, Beth Feldman and Sue Fellows for being my anchors in production and project management for this event tonight. I'm so grateful for your consistent support, accountability, and passion for our organization. Georgia Galinodis, who you just met, and Abby Evans for your tireless leadership and commitment to the organization, as well as producing an amazing virtual event 2 years in a row, all volunteer work. Georgia, I look forward to working with you as the 2022-23 president, and Abby, I really hope your presidency isn't too far off. I want to thank my predecessor, Judith Harrison, for always believing me, oh goodness, for always believing in me and being my trusted sounding board and dear friend. I am so inspired by your mission to open doors and drive advancement for women and underrepresented people in our industry and beyond. My successor, Dusty Jenkins. Where's Dusty? With your boundless energy and get-it-done approach to every role you take on, anything is truly possible with you leading the charge. I can't wait to see what you do with this organization next year. She's really amazing. Vita Harris, Megan Rokosh, Chelsea Orcutt, Brandy Boatner, and the rest of the programming team for your hard work, dedication, and initiative launching and cultivating Women Heard, along with all of the rest of our programming events. Again, this is all volunteer work. Laura Brusca, Rodina Stevens, and the rest of the communications team for expressing our mission and bold vision both inside and outside of this organization. Abby Clausen, Kate Mitchell, Shireen Russell, and the rest of the sponsorship committee for bringing in great corporate partners to support all of our bold ambitions this year. 26 sponsors for Matrix this year. In such a challenging year, this committee of volunteers secured 26 sponsors, one of the best we've ever had. The 2020 and 2021 New York Wiki board for their volunteerism. Without these brilliant women involved, my presidential term would not have been such a success. Absolutely not. Our management company, Kellen, for their long-term partnership and support in making this year possible. And of course, our sponsors, especially Bloomberg Media for being our host, along with Lowe's and NBC Universal, and all of our sponsors that you see on the screen for making the hybrid concept possible. We went very deep on the digital production, and then now you see this event tonight. So all of that was done because of our sponsors and our volunteers. Please join me in giving all of these people a huge round of applause. For 2 years in a row, Makeout has been our incredible production partner for the virtual. And before we introduce our panel, I'm really excited to show you some highlights from our 2021 Digital Matrix Awards.
For the past 51 years, the Matrix Awards have been presented to you by the New York Women in Communications, or, as we all know it, New York Wiki.
New York Women in Communications has always encouraged women to embrace their ambition, abilities, and authenticity.
Our broader New York Wiki community have formed a real sisterhood that gives back to the business community and each other.
Members of New York Women in Communications have driven change in the industry they serve, and for 51 years have broken down barriers for women.
When women celebrate other women, it is very special.
This year's Matrix Awards gives us the opportunity to celebrate 8 magnificent women who have demonstrated their innate abilities to innovate, to adapt, to lead during these uncertain times.
It's all about continuing the tradition of recognizing the achievements of pioneering women such as Gloria Steinem, Bess Meyerson, and many, many others.
All of the 2021 Matrix honorees are beacons for those who will follow. And New York Wiki is proud to welcome them to the Matrix Hall of Fame.
I am truly honored to be receiving this special recognition from the New York Women in Communications.
Thank you, Wiki, for this incredible honor. This is a class I am humbled to be a part of.
Thank you for this award. It means a lot to me, and I feel really blessed.
Let me thank you, all of you, for teaching me the power of possibilities. And thank you for this honor that I once barely dreamed might come my way.
I am so privileged and grateful to be recognized with this award and to follow in the footsteps of the extraordinary women who are part of Matrix history.
I want to thank you for thinking that I am worthy of an honor that so many women who I admire have gotten in the past.
This especially means so much to me because it comes from other women.
I think of just all the great women who have received the Matrix Award before me and who are receiving it alongside me, and my heart just bursts with joy. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much for this award.
We have another class of outstanding scholarship winners to celebrate today. These women, all of them incredible. They're already standouts in the field. Congratulations, and I hope you are really proud of yourselves. I cannot wait to say, I knew you back when.
This year, the New York Women in Communication platform, #WomenHeard, spearheaded a national research study on how COVID-19 has affected so many women in the workplace. The Women Heard initiative was launched in the hope that providing tangible and vital data to industry leaders would inspire honest dialogue and real change.
Women Heard revealed that a majority of women feel more comfortable working from home. Was this true for you?
I've loved working from home. I feel like last year, I was able to stay so focused, being in that comfortable space. It was such an amazing experience for me being pregnant.
I don't think we're gonna live in a totally virtual world, but it does make me very choiceful about the things that I'm going to do and going to ask others to do moving forward after this.
I delight in the idea of going back into a hybrid model where there's a place that I can go that's focused on work, but still affords me the holistic opportunity of being home some days.
I can't find one mom who's like, oh yeah, I'm ready. I want to go back 5 days a week and miss dinner every night.
I gotta tell you, it's hard to watch this and not feel so proud and so excited to be a woman in our industry, surrounded by so many other amazing women who really are making an effort to lift people up, to bring women up the ladder with them, and to have people to turn to when things get tough. It really is amazing to hear, and I'm just so excited about it.
Congratulations to all this year's Matrix Award honorees.
On behalf of women in communication in New York and around the world, thank you for everything you do.
Congratulations to all of this year's honorees and scholarship winners.
It's an honor to celebrate you all.
Until next year, as my colleague and friend Lester Holt likes to say, take care of yourselves and each other.
If you haven't had a chance to watch the full 2021 Matrix Awards virtual event, you can see it on our website at nywici.org. Well, I'm so excited to kick off our main event of the evening, our honorees panel, titled, What Comes Next? Becoming a Champion of Change in Your Industry. First, I'd like to introduce tonight's moderator, Executive Vice President, Forbes Media, and publisher of Forbes Women, Moira Forbes.
Let's give another round of applause for Ashley. That was amazing. Congratulations. It is so good to be with you here tonight. Ashley was talking about many, many firsts. My sons, I don't think, recognized me. They're 4 and 6 when I was leaving tonight because I was wearing something that had a zipper and my hair was actually clean. So I am so thrilled to be with you all here. Another first is I haven't had an event with the same font size that I have now in about 2 years. So this should be an interesting reading test for me since pre-COVID, but we'll go with it, and I appreciate your patience. But Ashley, thank you. And thank you all for being here tonight. I wanna ask one thing of you here tonight. I haven't been in a room with such an incredible group of inspiring, dynamic, powerful women in God knows how long. And so I ask that when everyone comes up here tonight, let's really encourage each other. Let's clap. Let's just have a really good time because it has been far too long. And tonight's conversation, no doubt, will be as inspirational as it is inspiring. So I'm going to introduce our panelists. And again, I'm going to ask something that probably 2 years ago would have seemed like we were at a far different event. I'm going to ask you to cheer really loudly for these panelists. And cheer loudly for yourselves because it's a milestone to be here, and it's this milestone to be here together. And Ashley, it's a milestone for what you and everyone in New York Wiki has accomplished. So let me introduce our panelists. I feel like it's a very big moment. So first, our first 2021 Matrix honoree is a beloved and respected leader in her field. She's truly an unparalleled leader and champion of diversity and representation in the workplace. Please help me welcome our former 2019-2020 New York Wiki president, current EVP of Global Diversity and Equity Inclusion at Weber Shenwick, Ms. Judith Harrison. Come on down the line. I love it, guys. This is good. This is good energy. We will take it. Our next honoree has continued to be a groundbreaker and inspiring leader in the ever-changing landscape of media, from television to digital content to music and podcasting, and she has done it all. And she is someone also who, since the beginning of my career, I have looked up to with such admiration and respect. Please welcome the Chief Content and Advertising Business Officer at Spotify, Dawn Ostroff. Our next honoree is truly such an astounding media executive who is responsible for driving strategy at one of the world's most notable media agencies, and it's more than 1,700 employees across the US and Canada. Her leadership emphasizes optimism, empathy, and bravery. Please welcome North America CEO of Mindshare, Amanda Richmond. I feel like we should be doing high fives, you guys, as you come on the stage. And finally, but certainly not last, is the woman in front of me. She is a pioneer in the digital marketing landscape and developing innovative and creative campaigns for consumer brands. She's also the founder of Executive Mom, someone who's paving the way for working mothers to create ways to strive for personal and professional fulfillment. Please welcome Executive Vice President, Chief Brand and Marketing Officer of Lowe's, Marissa Thalberg. With some good enthusiasm, everyone. Thanks for that cheering. Well, welcome, ladies. I'm excited for your insight. As I said, it's going to be inspiring, and it's just so nice to be next to really smart, accomplished women who really, truly deserve to be celebrated and recognized this evening. So congratulations again to you all. Judith, I'm going to start with you because tonight's conversation, we're going to just do touchstones on everyone's career, advice, insights, things that I think all of us can take to heart, no matter what area of our career or what stage of career that we're in. I would love for you to reflect back and you think at this moment in time, was there a specific milestone or career juncture for you that was transformative in shaping who you are today and how you arrived on the stage today?
I think there were two, actually. So the first was when I met my mentor, Shen Sam, who really encouraged me to embrace everything that I am. Being a woman in an industry that at that time was not particularly female. Being Black in an industry that at that time was not particularly diverse. And so just not shrinking back, but moving forward. And then there was the other incident, which I talked about in my Matrix speech, in which someone had asked me to talk about my experiences as a woman of color in the business so that she could then go to a conference and talk about my experiences as a woman of color in the business because she was giving a speech where the topic was diversity. And I thought, you know, it's time for a change. So those were the two moments that really sort of solidified in my mind the fact that not only was there a need for change, but that I needed to do it. I needed to make it.
And did you always feel as confident in that?
You know, no. I think it took a while to grow into that, but not all that long, to tell you the truth, because I just felt that it had to be done. Life is short, and I needed to get cracking. That was really it.
But I love that because sometimes we may not feel that that is our calling, but there are these moments in time, right, that are those transformative moments that really propel us to take us out of our comfort zone or to be able to pay it forward.
Exactly. It was way out of my comfort zone, but it worked out exactly the way I had intended and wanted.
Well, we're grateful that happened. I think all of you bring such a different set of talents and skill sets and perspectives that have allowed you to propel your professional success forward, both in these skill sets, both in your professional and personal lives. Marissa, if you could talk about one superpower that has allowed you to move your career forward, how would you describe it? And also, how when people think about their strengths and their weaknesses and the opportunities in front of them, how did that crystallize and come to life for you?
It's such a funny question because I think we as women tend to diminish the extent to which we even think we have superpowers. So it's funny. I found myself hearing your question and my first reaction was to be like, oh no, I don't have any of those. But, you know, because my career has been nonlinear and non-traditional, and now I think it's part of what makes my story interesting, that not everyone goes from luxury beauty to fast food tacos, to New York, to California, now to one of the largest retailers in the country, if not the world, but big box home improvement. I mean, those are not normal dots that connect. And so I would say the answer for me has been connecting dots that other people don't see. It's what allowed me to become a digital marketer when I didn't think I was one, but I just saw that that's where the world was moving, and I was able to parse that and say, here's what this would mean for us, here's what we should do, or creating just unique ideas and galvanizing a team to do them, like the Taco Bell Hotel or Lowe's in New York Fashion Week. And those are the things that I think give me energy because they create connections with people in turn, and that's fundamentally our job as communicators. So perhaps it's that, just connecting the dots that other people don't see, but then in turn trying to get other people to feel that they can do that as well.
Can you offer one piece of advice on connecting dots? I think we hear so often that the ability to do really extraordinary things in life is to put these pieces together, like a Taco Bell hotel, which sounds like Mecca to me.
A lot of people felt that way, by the way.
Well, yeah. I was one of those people. But can you give one piece of advice in terms of if connecting the dots is so paramount right now, what does that actually look like in practice? And how can people recalibrate how they think about the things around them to be able to be more open to that opportunity?
I mean, for me, that's how creativity has found its expression for me. I always thought of myself as a creative person that wound up in the business world and had a little bit of that existential, like, wait, am I in the right path for myself? But that's what creativity is to me, and we all encounter this in our professional lives. We're always faced with people who'll tell you why something can't happen or why something doesn't make sense. And it was very easy for anyone to tell me why going from beauty to Taco Bell made no sense. That's obvious. So the more interesting thing was to show how it did make sense. So that's, to me, what connecting the dots means, is to find the logic in disparate things. And it doesn't mean all disconnected things need to be connected, obviously, but it's when inspiration strikes and you see a potential connection that isn't necessarily obvious, that creates the good kind of cognitive dissonance we want as communicators, because it stops people, makes them think differently. And that's really hard to do, as we all know, in our really cluttered world. So that would be my answer, Moira, to the question, is just to not be bogged down by everyone telling you why something doesn't make sense, because that's easy. The hard part is to find the really beautiful rationale where something unexpected does.
So that not only takes work, but I think that also takes a degree of courage, maybe not confidence, but courage, right? At least to be able to connect dots amid a swell of people who don't see it necessarily or don't believe in it. But obviously that's where innovation comes from. Don, I'll turn to you, because to be able to drive impact at scale, that requires the same type of courage. It requires the same type of vision. You've been someone, again, whose career I've so admired, because in the media landscape, like all of you women on stage tonight, none of you have been defined by a platform, a message, but the ability to be extraordinary storytellers and communicators in the most fundamental way, in leveraging the platforms that exist. Can you talk a little bit about how you've thought about using your own platform in the companies that you work with, but also the resources and the communities that you engage with to be a more thoughtful and impactful agent of change?
Well, that's a great question, because when you say agent of change, that just makes my brain go, like, agent of change of so many things, right? When you think about the times that we're living in, and you think about agent of change societally, culturally, business-wise, and the whole world is a constant, ever-changing place. And I think one of the most important things for me is to get comfortable with change, to understand that change is a positive, it's inevitable, and how do you become a part of it as opposed to fighting it.
And were you always comfortable with change?
No, gray was very hard for me to live in. I was a very black or white person, and it took a lot for me to be able to sort of change who I am to be comfortable in gray. And I consider change to be really this gray place, right? Because you don't know where you're changing to exactly, so you have to be okay being nimble and making sort of pivots, as we say these days. But for me, when I started my career, of course, women were maybe, it was a token woman in every company, more or less, especially in the media space. And I think about, because you're asking all of these women great questions, and you're talking about two pivotal moments, and I think change has a lot to do with that. I mean, one of the pivotal moments for me that change became, sort of very front and center for me was Jerry Laborn, who has been a mentor to so many of us here. And those of you who don't know Jerry, she really was one of the most inspirational women who served as a mentor to so many who have seen success or are successful now in our careers. And I was working at Lifetime Television for Women at the time, and basically the Hollywood Reporter came up with this idea of doing an issue around the top women in the Hollywood community. And Jerry was sort of at the forefront of it, and I was very young in the industry, sort of like one of the many mentees that she had, and there were barely 50 women in the business that could be in that magazine. There just weren't enough women. And today, when you look at that issue, for any of you who are familiar with it, I mean, it's just quite remarkable because there are so many women. And so I look at that as a real change. And I looked at women like Jerry, who led the charge, to be able to teach us how important it is to mentor other women, to make sure you bring them along, and to make sure that you're there to catch them if they fall, inspire them as they're on their journey, and just be an overall support system for them. So that's one part of change. The changing media landscape is another huge change, and I've seen it multiple times now. And to me, it's exciting. It's moving life forward. It's thinking about what's next. And that, to me, is very exciting change. I love being a part of that. And I always look to the younger generations to kind of guide the way. Wherever they go is where we will all follow. And so I get great inspiration from whatever the youngest generation is. And I tend to just sort of study them and find them to be the inspiration that I look for.
But I love that because I think all of us have such an opportunity to pay the opportunities that others have given us forward. But it does require this ability to be more open to change and to really embrace it in terms of the opportunities that it creates. Amanda, I'll turn to you because when we talk about rapid change in the past 18 months, it is such a cliche when we say it's an unprecedented challenge, fluidity, change, so much opportunity ahead of us. But I do fundamentally believe in times of great turmoil or uncertainty, that's when things can be rewritten. That's when really there's extraordinary opportunities, which you've really seized on in terms of your career. Amanda, when you look at the past year and a half, what has been solidified most to you in terms of the leadership fundamentals? And what has also stretched you or surprised you in ways that shaped your thinking that you may not have expected?
That's a great question. I think we're coming out of this last year and a half, I think we've all realized that the care for each other and the generosity we need to show at work and support is more important than any vision statement we put on the wall, any brand redesign, any new business win. It's that building that core team of leaders and making sure you're showing the support for your team every day in all these small ways add up to such a powerful change in getting an organization rallied and our people feeling supported in really difficult times as we've all been through. And so this notion of it's not about leadership at the top and big statements and those kind of big wins, a lot of times it's just these little day-to-day wins, these emails, these check-ins, the time to support people just in little ways every day that makes a bigger impact. And I also noticed that we can overlook also just how important communication is. As leaders, when we communicate a new perspective, a new vision, we cascade it down, you just realize that it has to be a constant care and nurture of what we stand for and making sure you're bringing people along in that change as well. And not just mandating something from the top as if that is going to change the direction of the company. It's you've got to live it and breathe it. You have to be the culture. You have to reflect it every day. And you have to make sure you're connecting with people and bringing them along with that. And being generous with your feedback to them as well.
I want to follow up on that because there were no shortage of demands on everyone's time pre-COVID, right? But you're talking about this new need to really lean into communicating, transparency, this culture of empathy, which is so fundamental in the workforce of the future. How did you navigate that dynamic while also still trying to survive and thrive and just figure out, there is no playbook to the world that we're living in. What does that look like in terms of how you calibrate your life and your time?
It means you really have to rely on your team, right? And we think we all got out of the sense of like it is all on your shoulders. You have to share the problems. You have to make sure people understand the dynamics of the decisions behind it. You have to constantly communicate, and yes, constantly on screen, and constantly optimistic. And that was probably the key for this last year and a half of just being able to make sure no matter what happens, the dogs may bark, the caravan rolls on, was what my mom used to always say. And it's true. Things will be distracting, things will bring you down, but you've got to bring that optimism to every opportunity that you have to connect with people. And you'll find that they feel empowered by that, and your belief in them is what carries things forward.
Yeah, there's been these extraordinary tests in all of our leaderships, but it's been such a reminder of the fundamentals in terms of what's possible, particularly when you have such extraordinary leaders and talent who are helping reshape the world as we know it moving forward. So as we wrap up, there's so many women who look to all of you as the pinnacles of success. And we so often talk about success as a destination, but it is really an evolution and many peaks and valleys in terms of not necessarily arriving, because I think we're all on that journey, but at least in terms of maybe not arriving, but evolving on the journeys before us. If each of you were to distill one piece of advice to younger women, young, ambitious women who are entering this really complicated, but also extraordinarily fluid, and I truly believe exciting moment, because that's a moment of opportunity. What piece of advice would you give them? And I'll start with you, because again, we'll go this way. So put you on the hot seat.
Okay, I think that's such a great question. My advice to young women would be to always lead with yes. Meaning, if a senior person asks you to do something, if you think, I don't know if I'm ready for this, do it anyway. Figure it out. Honestly, and then what you need to do is say yes and then work yourself almost into the ground to make sure that you are justifying these people's faith in you. And then one more piece of advice is to make sure that you understand that empathy is important, just as important as your hard skills, and that is going to be a key part of your leadership package. So it's not just what you know in terms of those hard skills, it's really how you lead, how you bring people together that's going to help to move you forward and your organization as well.
Dawn, what about you?
I would say, if I could give advice to young women, I would say, please keep in mind one word, which is entitlement. I feel that women do not feel entitled. And to see this next generation coming up still not feeling entitled, I mean, it was one thing when it was my generation feeling that, but seeing this next generation still in that place is very disheartening. And so I feel they need to feel entitled to be in the room, entitled to get the promotion, entitled to get the raise, entitled to be a part of a company and be a leader in a company. And then most importantly, it's okay to not just be satisfied with a seat at the table. It's okay for you to say you deserve to be at the head of the table. And I think it's time that this generation takes that on.
Yeah, I'm going to build on that, because this generation does exactly what I wish we would have done more of, which is just run to the problem. And run to problems that will shape your career, because you'll be the one to solve those problems. But don't stop at what the business problem is, the problem in your job. This generation is so amazing at running to societal problems, world problems, what's happening with climate change, more. And so how do you incorporate that and be more well-rounded in your life and not think of running to problems to shape your career down one lane, but unleash the impact that you've already made that inspires us, I think, as well. It's hard to go in the end.
No pressure.
And I am going to steal that success is not arriving, but evolving, because that is such a beautiful articulation. Listen, here's what I'll just add to the brilliant comments of my colleagues here, specifically to the women, because in the past recent years, I've really become very obsessed with the fact that female characteristics in leadership or just female characteristics that were always maligned are now finally the world is realizing that they're actually strengths. And you know what? My very first performance review, and it showed up in many after that, was she wears her heart on her sleeve. Like it's a bad thing. And I spent many years being embarrassed, and I even wrote a funny thing like, in damn heart, in I say, thinking like I had to hide it. And you know what? What is leadership? What is being a storyteller or communicator without your whole heart? So, it's time. have to recast and not have to apologize for bringing the best of what it is to be a woman to the table, but to actually teach our male colleagues that they would be better leaders if they bring some of the feminine traits that we all embody, men and women each, just as we women embody certain male characteristics. We need to bring those to the table and usher in the best of what the world could use in some of those traits in leadership, in business, and probably we can all agree beyond. So whole hearts, women.
I love that. I love that. Well, I think that authenticity and that advice is also what's made you all so successful. The ability to say yes and to lean into the problems. The ability to be entitled, which I think so many, I love that you use that word because so many people, that has a negative connotation, but lean into that. This ability to really go in unapologetically and solve the big problems and to do the work that needs to be done beyond the scope of what many of us even thought possible when we look at our normal job remit. And what you said, so many things in our life that are characterized as weaknesses, or at least when we talk about what makes for a successful leader, those are strengths. Those are truly strengths. And you all are rewriting the rules of what's possible, paying your success forward. And we're so grateful to honor you on this extraordinary occasion for what you've done for so many, but also what you will continue to do for so many, including many women in this room. So we're grateful, and congratulations, and thank you to you all. Thank you. So with that, I want to thank our honorees. Ashley, I want to thank you on this momentous occasion tonight, and Dusty on all that's ahead for you and all the possibility that is represented in this room, particularly in a moment like this. So thank you.
Did anyone else have chills? Like top to bottom chills. They're amazing. I just can't believe we know them. I can't believe we're in their presence. I can't believe we get to work with them in some capacity. It's truly amazing. So in addition to honoring these women who have demonstrated adaptability, innovation, and growth during very uncertain times, New York Wiki awards scholarships to the next generation. We were talking a lot about that generation of dedicated young women entering the field of communications. To talk more about our scholarship program and some of our remarkable graduates who are here tonight and who are completely amazing, if you haven't met them yet, is 13-time Emmy Award-winning journalist, author, primetime anchor for Pix 11 News in New York. She also hosts the Broadway Profiles. She's a New York Wiki member. So by the way, if you're not a member yet, you gotta be a member. And she's also my dear, dear friend, Tamsin Fadal.
Ashley, thank you so much. I'm so excited just to see everybody here. I want to give everyone a hug because this is my first event out like this. So welcome, everybody. It's exciting. So each year, New York Women in Communication awards scholarships to undergrad and graduate students who intend to pursue or further a career in communications. Scholarships are awarded on the basis of academic excellence, on need, on a demonstrated commitment to the field of communications. And New York Women in Communications is dedicated and committed to inclusion and diversity. Over $1.9 million in scholarships have been given out so far. I think it's just so incredible, to 340 women. I know, it's just wonderful because these are women that are majoring in all aspects of communication, including journalism, public relations, entertainment, digital media, the list goes on and on. Well, this year, New York Wiki awarded scholarships to 9 deserving young women. I had a chance to meet some of them, and they're remarkable, and they're the future, and it's exciting to see. There's so many success stories of New York Wiki scholarship winners. For example, 2006 winner Tammy Tibbetts and 2007 winner Christian Brandt co-founded a global nonprofit called She's the First. You may have heard of it. It's to support young women who, like herself, are the first in their families to be able to attend college. 2013 winner Opal Vadhan moved from being an aide to former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to becoming a personal aide to Vice President Kamala Harris. 2015 winner Amanda Morris is a first disability reporting fellow for the national desk at the New York Times. I told you we had an impressive list. 2013 winner Ashley Schwartz Lavarez is an Emmy-nominated producer at ABC News now. And 2008 winner Aisha Al-Muslim is currently senior editor newsroom internships at the Wall Street Journal. We're also so proud to have our former scholarship winners remain actively involved with New York Wiki, including Sarah Lynch, Allison Latini, and Chelsea Orcutt, who won her first scholarship in 2009 and is now VP of our programming committee. And really what's important about that is their examples prove that New York Wiki provides so much more than just a scholarship. It also really opens doors, and that's just so important for young women to join the community and accelerate their impact on this industry. And finally, New York Wiki can continue to provide scholarships to deserving young women with your help. You might consider sponsoring a named scholarship or make a donation to help support women at all stages of their careers in all fields of communications. The inspirational postcards you'll see at your table, they have a QR code that's going to take you to the newyorkwiki.org website where you can make a contribution that can benefit all of the educational and scholarship programs that you've heard about. Thank you so much for taking the time and listening, but we're just so proud of everybody, and all of you contribute to that so much, so thank you so much. I'd like to invite Ashley Miles back to the podium for a toast.
Now, if you would all reach for your champagne glass and join me, I'd like to make a toast to all of the incredible women in this room tonight, all joined together to support one another. We come from all facets of the communication field: publishing, advertising, broadcasting, PR, corporate communications, marketing, photography, film. There's so many disciplines that make up our super dynamic industry. Some of us are here as seasoned executives. Some of us are here on our way up the ladder. Some of us are just beginning our career journeys. To our extraordinary 2021 Matrix Award honorees at the top of their game, Judith Harrison, Marissa Thalberg, Dawn Ostroff, Amanda Richmond, Hoda Koppi, Yamiche Elsendor, Aquafina, and Maggie Haberman. Please stand up. You inspire us all to the fullest. We are here this evening because of your leadership, your impact, and your values. To our trailblazing scholarship winners and all of our previous scholarship winners who are here tonight, please stand up. We can't wait to cheer you on in the years to come. Stand up. To our former and current New York Wiki presidents and industry trailblazers, including Liz Kaplow, Jackie Kelly, Nancy Weber, Kim Kelleher, Judith Harrison, Dusty Jenkins, and all of our board members in the audience. This is all volunteer work. Please stand up. Thank you for your wisdom, your guidance, your support, and making New York Wiki the most influential organization for women in communications. You're amazing. To all of our members and corporate partners who make New York Wiki so extraordinary, thank you for your friendships, alliances, and generosity that you bring to this organization. You know, one thing I always tell people about New York Wiki is that it truly is a sisterhood. It's an opportunity to connect with the most amazing people who are changing the world for the better. I salute you all, and cheers. I'm going to take a sip on that note. I haven't had a cocktail yet, so it definitely tastes good. As always, New York Wiki is grateful to our partner, Bloomberg Media, for hosting tonight's event, as well as our digital event, and sharing their commitment to celebrate exceptional women in communications. Speaking tonight on behalf of our host, Bloomberg Media, I'd like to introduce Deputy Bureau Chief and Senior Editor for Bloomberg News, Shartia Brantley. Hey, hey.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here tonight. I should have recorded every single one of their closing statements to remind myself each day to continue to say yes and move forward. So thank you all for being so inspiring. Thank you. My colleagues and I are honored to be supporting the Matrix Awards and New York Women in Communications this evening. Everything you've heard tonight from the honorees and just our scholarship winners lets us know we're certainly in the right place in solidarity with the incredible women who do and the future leaders who will do groundbreaking things around the myriad areas of the media industry. With that being said, there is so much more work to be done, so much more proverbial ground to be broken in front of the cameras and bylines and other critical roles behind the scenes. Every company and leader has a daily choice to turn resources and opportunity into action and results. For our part at Bloomberg, we have global platforms on nearly every medium, megaphones that reach over 100 million people. So as we work to hire, develop, promote, and retain talented women in our own company, we also have the responsibility of being business journalists who can hold power to account across boardrooms, Zooms, and studios everywhere in the pursuit of stronger gender equality and equity. Oh, thank you. My colleague, Laura Zelenko, leads our New Voices program, which started in 2018 to nurture new talent and has tripled the number of female voices appearing on Bloomberg TV. We've integrated a public-facing page for that on our newly expanded Bloomberg Equality vertical, which elevates and investigates issues of gender, race, diversity, and fairness in business by using data, context, and local insight. My point is this: each of us in this room here tonight must use the funding, influence, and platforms we have available to empower one another. Oh, thank you. I and everyone sitting at the two Bloomberg tables over there will continue to do everything to make sure Bloomberg does its part, and we ask you to keep doing the same. Congratulations again to all of the honorees tonight. You've inspired us to keep pushing, to create opportunity and enhanced intersectional representation of women. Thank you all so much. Congratulations. And now we have a very special performance this evening. With our mission of supporting women across all fields of communications, I'd like to introduce 19-year-old pianist and current Juilliard student, Daniella Leitman. Yes. Since her orchestral debut at age 8, Daniella has performed with more than 25 orchestras on 4 continents. Tonight, she performs Chopin's Ballade No. 3 in A-flat major. Please welcome Daniella Leitman.
amazing. Thank you so much, Daniella. That was so brilliant. You made our evening. Thank you. So as we wind down our celebration, I want to say that it's really been such an honor to serve as your New York Wiki president during such a pivotal year and witness the amazing things that can happen when we surround ourselves with values-driven people, a winning mission, and bold moves to realize the impossible. Now, I'd like to introduce my successor, 2021-2022 New York Wiki president, Dusty Jenkins, who has been an incredible partner to me throughout my presidency. We are dear, dear friends, both Southern, and when we're together, I feel like I can really bring out my inner cowgirl spirit and grit, you know? It's like, I really appreciate it. I do, yeah. Cowboy boots with a suit, why not? I always admire Dusty's abundance of energy, her professionalism, and her savvy. Please welcome the amazing Dusty Jenkins.
All right, so the good news is I am it for the evening, your last speaker. I want to say thank you so much to Ashley. I know that it's probably not lost on you, but it's been quite a year for all of us, and nonprofits have been hit especially hard, and yet we gave out every scholarship, and we held a Matrix event, even if it was virtual, and that is because this woman, she doesn't stop. So a massive thanks to Ashley. My friend Maura Forbes, who just led the panel up here, asked a question at the end, and she asked, what advice would you give? And so I'm gonna share a piece of advice that I recently shared with USC students. We were on a Zoom, and some of their cameras were off, and I thought, oh, you're gonna message me on LinkedIn later as the head of communications at Spotify, but I'm not gonna know what you look like because your camera's off. And so they said, what advice would you have? And I said, I would say one simple thing, show up, show up. Like really show up. Every opportunity that you get, lean in and show up. And one by one, they started to flip on their cameras. And there they all were. No towels, no one that was like not ready for an on-camera moment. They were just simply had a lot going on, I get it. But tonight, you showed up. You showed up in New York City to celebrate these remarkable women, to honor this organization, and I cannot tell you how much it means that you showed up. So thank you to you. So as the new president of New York Wiki, I look forward to bringing back many moments like this one, in-person moments where we can celebrate one another, where we can offer mentorship and networking advice, like all the amazing advice you heard up here. And I wanna mention one event. So I'm gonna have a conversation with Sally Sussman. If you don't know that name, she is the head of corporate affairs at Pfizer. So as you can imagine, she's had an incredible front row seat to what's happening around the world. So on December 16th, we get to sit down with her and hear what it was like when she got that call, what it was like to understand how big this pandemic was really going to be, what it was like when they were the first company ever to bring forward a COVID-19 vaccine, one that I look forward to giving to my 7-year-old daughter next week. These are the stories, you all. These are the stories that are shaping our world. And the women in this room are the ones telling them. You are the ones. And so we are honored to honor you tonight, the women that make our industry what it is, such a special, special place, but the ones who are shaping the stories that will define us for generations to come. So cheers to all of you, and I just want to close by saying, honorees, it is our honor and our privilege to celebrate you. Thank you so very, very, very much. Congratulations. Good night, you all. Please stay, have a drink. We have a whole hour in this beautiful space where you get to enjoy New York City without a mask. So I hope you'll stick around. Cheers.